So I thought about scripting this video, but I was gonna write everything out and get my thoughts as clear and concise as I could before I fired up the recording. But I just came off of doing two big scripted videos in like a week, and that gets really tiring. I want to take it easy for a little while. So these next couple videos over the next week or two, I'm just gonna fire up the recording and just go. You know what I mean? 3 years ago, almost four now, I did a video about the MCU, about Phase 4, um, and how it didn't really seem like Marvel knew what they wanted to do or where they wanted to go. Um, and I said that for a number of reasons, because we're now halfway through the second phase of the multiverse saga, and out of the however many projects there have been, we've only had a couple that are actually about the multiverse. We've had Spider-Man, we've had Doctor Strange 2, What If, Loki, WandaVision to a certain extent, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but even then, not really. And is that it? I don't know. It seems like that's it. Unless you count Morbius, which you shouldn't. Um, which I guess would mean that Venom: The Last Dance counts. We're gonna go off on a side tangent real quick. I knew that this was gonna happen. Once No Way Home came out. Now that Marvel and Sony are both like in control of the same multiverse because Andrew Garfield appears in both Spider-Man No Way Home and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, everything is canon, right? And now thanks to Deadpool and Wolverine, that's the other multiverse project. Now thanks to Deadpool and Wolverine, we know that everything is canon to the same multiverse. Just about every Marvel movie ever made, right? Um and yeah, 20th Century Fox did get acquired by Marvel, but as far as I know, those old Blade movies were not a part of any of that. So the Wesley Snipes Blade movies are canon to this multiverse. Fantastic Four, X Men, all of it. With that many things being being aspects of the same branching thing, it's gonna get really complicated, right? Um, but like Michael Keaton Vulture ends up in the Morbius universe because of Doctor Strange's spell from the end of No Way Home, and so like, and Eddie Brock gets temporarily transported to what they call Earth 616. Whatever. None of that is actually what I wanted to talk about. What I want to talk about is when I made that video saying that Marvel was kind of spinning wheels and it was hard to know what they were trying to do. I got quite a few comments on that video telling me that I was crazy. They're like, "No, they're not spinning wheels," or "No, you're wrong. I think you're in the minority in that opinion. Marvel's great right now. Marvel knows exactly what they're doing." Fast forward a couple years, things have changed a little bit. You know, people are quick to say that Marvel's in their flop era right now, and I don't want to say that that's necessarily true, but we're talking more and more about superhero fatigue and like Marvel fatigue and Marvel burnout than we ever have, right? There was a point where I was watching every Marvel movie that came out, and now I'm like, yeah, I'll skip that one. I'll skip that show. Like, what have I still not seen? I didn't see the Marvels or Miss Marvel. Um, I didn't see Secret Invasion or um Agatha All Along, or what are the other things that have been coming out? Loki season 2. I didn't watch oh gosh, well, I'm not watching the new Spider-Man show that just came out. Point is, what is my point here? I should leave that in the video too. Make us feel like we're all wasting our time. But Marvel is still in a complicated place, and this is something that I wanted to talk about forever ago when the announcement came out. Um, that the MCU would be pivoting away from Kang and towards Doctor Doom as the central antagonist of the new Avengers movies, which have been retitled. Well, the first one's been retitled. Um, Avengers Doomsday now comes out in May of 2026. That's next year. They still haven't begun to film the movie, and this is an Avengers movie. And things are so up in the air right now. And this is such a good example to use. We don't know who the Avengers are, right? When Infinity War was getting ready to come out, we were pretty sure that just about every character that we had seen up to that point was going to be in that movie. And it was something to be excited about. Like, oh man, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Loki, whoever the hell is still alive is going to be in this movie. But now, things are in such a state of flux that we don't know who that's supposed to be. We can assume that Thor's going to be in it because he's still alive. Maybe the Hulk will be there because he's still alive. But do they intend for the TV characters to be there? Is Kamala Khan going to be in it? Is She-Hulk going to be there? Is Daredevil going to be there? You know, do they want Moon Knight? What do they want to do? And even if you just leave it to the characters that are on screen, you know, we haven't seen Shang-Chi in almost 4 years. Is he going to make his second appearance ever in this movie? I don't know. But, speaking of Shang-Chi, the guy that directed the first movie is doing the next Spider-Man movie, so we really have no idea when a sequel to that film is supposed to come out or what they want to do with it. But, I would like to address the elephant in the room when it comes to Avengers Doomsday. I am a big, big Doctor Doom fan. And I'm sure I've talked about that plenty of times in the history of the channel. Maybe not, I don't know. There hasn't been a whole lot of reason to talk about him because he hasn't really been in much. But Doctor Doom is my favorite villain in all of comic books. And across every Fantastic Four movie that has come to exist in my lifetime, none of them have quite gotten him right. Um, and so just imagine my sheer bewilderment when it was announced at Comic-Con this past year that Doctor Doom would be played by Robert Downey Jr. And according to Anthony and Joe Russo, it's Victor Von Doom. It's not a Tony Stark variant from somewhere in the multiverse. It's really Victor Van Dam. Um, I don't like that. And a lot of people were really excited about it. A lot of other people, including myself, saw right through it. Um, it's literally desperation. It is desperation incarnate. There's no other reason. I don't care if you wanted Mads Mikkelsen or Cillian Murphy to play him. I don't care who you wanted to play him. Obviously, this is an attempt to pivot because their Kang plan fell apart, which is probably for the best anyway, because after 2 seasons of Loki and an Ant-Man movie, people still weren't quite that excited about Kang because he had a habit of dying every time he popped up. So it's hard to get attached to him as a villain when he's talking about how many versions of Thor he's killed in the past and he gets jumped by some ants and dies. They needed a pivot. They needed something to get asses in seats. They wanted to pack those theaters with the next Avengers movie, and who do they call? Robert Downey Jr. Now, this is the multiverse saga, right? They're doing Doomsday and Secret Wars kind of to wrap up to wrap up the multiverse saga. Secret Wars with Doctor Doom from 2015 was a pretty good read. So adapting that, it's pretty cool. The thing is, you can't just do that on a whim, right? Um, what I believe Marvel is counting on here is that the audience will see Robert Downey Jr. wearing a suit made of metal that lets him fly around or do whatever, and just assume that Iron Man's back, and that's what's going to get them to come back. Um, Never mind the intricacies that separate those two characters. How Doom is smarter, and his suit is typically better, and that he's a sorcerer. Another thing about Doctor Doom is he doesn't take his mask off, like, almost ever. I think I've seen the real face of Victor Von Doom less than 5 times in my life, post injury, that is, because he's so vain. Well, it actually kind of depends on which version of his origin you're looking at. Sometimes he's just got a very small scar on his face from something that happened in college, and he's so vain that he's like, no one could ever look at my face. And sometimes he mangled his entire face by putting that mask on too soon before it cooled, and it really did disfigure the rest of his face. It depends on which writer you're talking to. But Doom doesn't take his mask off, right? So why would you get Robert Downey Jr.? They're going to show his face. Well, you don't know that. Yes, I do. They're paying him like $100 million for these 2 movies. He's going to show his face. And so it's a betrayal of the character right off the bat before we even see anything. And you could say I'm judging way too soon. I don't care. Because like I've said, and like a lot of people have said, this is purely desperation. Um the TV shows have not garnered the level of interest that they hoped. The Ironheart show keeps getting delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. It might be coming out this year. Wonder Man has zero hype behind it. Um which is a shame. Armor Wars is probably never going to come out. Um, what the hell happened to Armor Wars? What happened to the Nova show? You know, there are so many things that got announced or teased or revealed. The Blade movie probably never coming out. And you know what's funny about all 4 of those things? They star a black character. Anyway, um, they have to do something because Marvel has been on a turbulent road. Yes, Deadpool and Wolverine was very successful. Not necessarily because it's an MCU movie, though, but because it was Deadpool and Wolverine on screen together for the very first time as proper Deadpool and Wolverine. And Hugh Jackman was finally wearing the yellow suit. People wanted to see that. Um, Certain characters will definitely and certainly still motivate the general audience to get up and get into the theater and watch these movies, but it's like what's Marvel supposed to count on at this point, you know? They still can't make a Hulk movie. Um, so yeah, let's just get back the guys from before. Um, and about Robert, I can't say that he's not a good enough actor to properly play Doctor Doom. I really need to hear the accent if he's going to do one. Um, but it's also if you want your evil Robert Downey Jr., just do the Superior Iron Man. Do a whole Dark Avengers. That works. That could be really cool actually. You could like send those actors off by having them get taken down by your new Avengers. But the thing is, we haven't established a new Avengers yet. Like if we're being completely honest, who do we think is on the new Avengers team? Probably Captain America. I don't know if Thor is on Earth, but if he is, there's a good bet that he's on the team. Doctor Strange, I don't know. He never became an Avenger. Um, he only ever worked with them out of necessity. Spider Man, I don't know, but I'd really rather he not be a part of this team right now. I want solo Spider Man standing on his own now that we finally got there at the end of the trilogy. Um, Hulk, again, maybe, but we don't know. We don't know for sure. Kate Bishop as Hawkeye, Yelena Belova as Black Widow, probably. Um, Shang-Chi, maybe. But it's like, I don't know. Like, if you compare it to Phase 1, it was very clear that every character was meant to be on the Avengers, especially when they were doing this character will return in the Avengers. And they stopped doing that because they don't know. There's a rumor going around that Black Panther is set to be recast. So, are we going to have our new T'Challa on the team? Is it going to be Prince T'Challa aged up by some sort of magical thing, or is it going to be Shuri? Who, like, maybe I sound crazy, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if I do. But it's hard to get excited for the future of the MCU when you have no idea what's going on. And what's funny is that like the stuff that I'm the most interested in when it comes to Marvel has nothing to do with the multiverse or Secret Wars or Doomsday or anything. Daredevil Born Again. I'm extremely excited for that. Fantastic Four, I'm desperately hoping is good. Um And it's funny that I said that, right? Because Kevin Feige has told us that Doctor Doom and Mr. Fantastic's relationship and dynamic and rivalry will not be explored very deeply. It won't be a focal point. Hey, did you guys know that Doctor Doom is Mr. Fantastic's arch nemesis? Like, yeah, we're doing a Justice League movie where Lex Luthor is the main villain, but don't we're not gonna focus too much on how much he hates Superman. We're gonna move right past that. Like, so many people are concerned about like how Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man is going to handle seeing him, and they don't care anything about Mr. Fantastic seeing him because I mean, there's not enough time to like rework him into being the main villain of the Fantastic Four movie. So if he appears in that movie, he'll just be a cameo at the very end in a post-credit scene. I'm not interested in that. Um, I am interested in that movie being good. I really hope it's good. Thunderbolts looks exciting, looks fun, looks energetic, which is something that the MCU needs right now. Has nothing to do with the multiverse saga though. Captain America: Brave New World. It comes out what in 2 weeks? I'll check it out. Why not? It looks like it'll be entertaining, but again, as far as I can tell, has nothing to do with the multiverse saga. Like, I wish they could just silently abandon that whole thing and just move on, because the most interesting things they have coming down the pipeline have nothing to do with that. Looking at Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars fills me with nothing but dread, whereas Infinity War and Endgame filled me with excitement. Something drastic changed there. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you guys are going to disagree with me again in the comments. Maybe some of you guys will agree. I don't know. I can't say that Marvel is in their flop era right now. I can't say that, like, they don't know how to find success. I can't say that I don't necessarily trust them. But you know who else is coming back? Chris Evans. Not as Johnny Storm, because he just died. So, it, I mean, does it not speak to desperation to you guys? Just get back the two main guys from before. I don't know. I think that that's a bad omen. Um, and it does not make me excited for the future of the MCU. There's plenty of reason to be, and I'm not going to tell you not to be, but I personally am just deeply concerned. Um, like with projects getting announced and then put on the shelf for years because they can't figure out what to do, it doesn't bode well. It doesn't bode well at all. I don't know. I don't know. I've been a fan of this franchise since the very beginning, since Iron Man 1 came out in 2008, but I struggle to get excited when we're finally getting around to characters that I care so deeply about, and it doesn't seem like anyone's interested in getting them right. Anyway, that's all I got in regards to that. I'll see you soon, I guess. Laters.